I guarantee you are playing Mozzie wrong, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to play Mozzie correctly. Mozzie is currently one of the most underrated operators in Rainbow Six Siege, with his pick rate not being as good as it used to be, with people like Thorn and Warden overshadowing him in most rights. But they haven't actually changed Mozzie. As a matter of fact, he's still pretty meta when you fit him in the category of having a 1.5 times scope and a good gun. So why is nobody playing him anymore? Well, to be completely honest, there isn't really a reason. As a matter of fact, Mozzie is still so good, but so underplayed that most people completely forgot how to play him, so in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to play him again. The first thing I'm going to go over is Mozzie's loadout. This is one of the reasons that Mozzie is still super good. He has the Commando 9, which is very good for newer players. The only issue with it being is that it doesn't have a 1.5 times scope, and then he has the P10 Roni, which does have that 1.5 times scope, and it has very little recoil. The only issue being with that is that it has very little bullets. So if you're new to the game, bring the Commando, and if you know how to control your amount of ammo in gunfights, and you're maybe more a seasoned player, bring the P10 Roni instead. One of the cooler things about his loadout as well is the Nitro Cell. This allows you to get free kills with information, which Mozzie does provide, so it goes well with his kit entirely. The ability to have a 1.5 times scope on a very good gun, while not being a 3 armor but still having a Nitro Cell and a very impactful ability are all 5 amazing things that make Mozzie great. So, with the loadout section being done with the video, I'm going to go over his main ability, the Pest Launcher. Now, the thing that you're probably doing wrong with Mozzie is using this gadget incorrectly. What I see a lot of people doing, especially in the low elo, is they'll immediately set down his Pest Launchers on site at the beginning of the round. Now, this is still kind of effective because, yes, you will get drones that you're able to use as cameras, but if you want to have cameras, you could just use Valkyrie, or Echo, or Maestro, or if you wanted to have information, you could just bring Solus, so there's no reason to be using Mozzie in this way. Now, if you want to have drone denial, then you can just play Mute, and Mute brings 1 extra jammer to cover 1 extra point of access that the drones can use to get to the site. So how do you use Mozzie in a way that's not only effective, but different from any other operator that makes him stand out? The way you do this is by using his drone denial on the roam, and then using the information that the drone denial provides to then get kills. How do you do this? Well, let's say I'm roaming top floor of bank. I would use my Mozzie pests in places where I know they're going to drone from. So from square, from the spiral staircase, or from any other place that they might drone me from, maybe the marble staircase or the stock windows in general. I would then sit on the top floor. My pests here allow me to not only not be able to get droned, but they allow me to then re-drone the attackers so that I can have a pre-placed C4 or just have my gun up to then be able to kill them. Either way, using Mozzie pests to deny drones on the roam is the most effective way that most people can think to use of him. Not only is using his Mozzie pests in the beginning of the round very bad because you're wasting them whenever you could be not droned on the roam, but also you could just be shooting the drones that your Mozzie pests are getting instead of just using your Mozzie pests. So you're not only able to deny more drones with the strategy I just highlighted, but you're also saving your pests so that you can get drones to then use as cameras. Either way, it's just more effective to shoot drones in the prep phase and then use his ability so that you can't get droned on the roam, or so that your other roamers can't get droned. Either way, using him on the roam with his pests is the most effective strategy that you can do with him. Now that we've gone over what you're probably doing wrong with Mozzie and what you should be doing with his ability, let's go over some general tips and tricks that you might not know existed as Mozzie. One thing that's cool about Mozzie is he's able to hack operator primary ability drones, so this being Twitch, Flores, and Brava. Now, with the exception of Flores, because Mozzie pests destroy Flores drones, you're able to actually hack the drones that Twitch and Brava provide and then use the ability on said drones to be able to counter more attacker utility. So if you hack a Twitch drone, you will then be able to use a Twitch drone and shock attacker utility, which is super cool. If they're placing a thermite, an H-charge, or if there's a claymore / nomad air jab on the flank, you can get it with the Twitch drone, and now you're able to just completely flank them or deny their hard breach. Either way, there's a little bit of potential to be said with using a Twitch drone, but this means that you actively need to be on the camera, which you won't get the ability to do in most rounds. The second operator, which I think is much more impactful in terms of how you can use their ability, is you can hack Brava's Clutch drone. This makes it to where you're able to hack attacker gadgets. So let's say that there's a claymore that you want to be able to hack. Well, you can hack it with Brava. This makes it to where if an attacker walks over this claymore, then they die instead of a defender walking over the claymore. Now, if you already know how Brava works, then you can start to see the potential of what I'm talking about here. Not only can you hack attacker utility to kill attackers, but you're also able to hack hacked utility. So let's say that a Brava hacks a default camera or a Kapkan trap and makes it an attacker Kapkan trap. You can use the Mozzie pested Clutch drone to then re-hack that Kapkan trap for the defense, or re-hack that camera camera for the defense. Either way, there's hacking inception that you can do with Mozzie and Brava, so that's another tip that you might have not known that you can do with Mozzie. Now, going over my second tip, I want to go over a very cool similarity that Echo and Mozzie cams have in common that you're probably underutilizing. And I'll give you a few seconds to think of what I might be talking about. Leave it down in the comments below and see if you can guess it. Well, that is the ability to be able to move their drones. Echo can move his drone, and so can Mozzie. It's a pretty distinctable similarity, but why does this matter? Well, with Echo, being able to move his cameras allows you to be able to hop your camera up, stun somebody, and then move your camera so it doesn't get destroyed. Him having an active ability that isn't bulletproof like Maestro means that as soon as you use the ability, it's probably going to be shot, so the ability to move the camera out of danger is very powerful. But Mozzie isn't necessarily like this. His drones don't have an active ability, so the fact that you're just going to use them to drone people out and then run your drone away doesn't provide much value, when you really could be using the cameras as just a standstill camera that you use for a flank watch or just to watch a room that the attackers might go into. But if you're going to do that, like I said earlier in the video, you might as well just play Valkyrie. So how do you properly use his cameras to get value out of them if you happen to get the cameras? Well, to be completely honest with you, there isn't a correct answer to this question. Mozzie has probably the worst defending camera in the entire game because there's nothing particularly special about it compared to the primary ability cameras that come on Valkyrie, Echo, and Maestro. Maestro is able to shock people, deny attacker utility, and his cameras are bulletproof. Echo is able to stun people out of plants, stun people so that you can get into gunfights, and his ability is able to be moved around. And Mozzie's drones are just drones. Like, there's nothing really special about Mozzie drones that are comparable to at least Echo, Valkyrie, or Maestro. So how would you use his cams in a different way than you would use the other cams? Well, like I said, there isn't really anything that you can do. The most effective strategy that I can come up with is the fact that you hack an attacker drone and you immediately move it into a hidden place, kind of like you would do it with an Echo cam. You move it into a hidden place that still provides information so that you can use the camera passively, but if you need to, you have it in this hidden place so that you can jump it out of the hidden place, drone an attacker out, and give a call out to your roamer to then go get a kill, or you, if you don't have comms, to just go get the kill. Either way, using his cameras as kills, kind of like you would use an Echo drone, and using it passively before you get the kill as just information like a Valkyrie cam is the best blend of both worlds, because like I said, Mozzie not only has the worst out of every single operator in terms of how his ability works, but he also kind of has the best because he has a mix of kind of just everybody's ability into one. So if you're able to use your Mozzie pests to have passive information that you can turn into active information if you have the time and space and the safety to do so, you can actually be a pretty effective Mozzie player. Now, there's one more tip that I'll give you that is pretty niche, but you can use in some certain scenarios. I felt the need to include it because I'm not just going to leave anything out in the full Mozzie guide, but here it is. Essentially, you can use 3 Mozzie pests, kind of like you would use 3 Jaeger ADSs, to protect 1 shield from a Flores player. This is a very, again, niche strategy I know that you would use, but it is still a pretty good strategy. So I'll bring you onto Elbow of Basement of Oregon. This is a pretty common spot to have a deployable shield, which means it's a pretty common spot to have a Flores player. Not only is this Flores' best map, but arguably the best site to be able to use him, because you're able to destroy the bulletproof utility, the zombie barricades, or any soft destruction that you just might need in general. Now, what's actually happened to me in game that I've taken into account and started using in my own games is the ability to stack 3 Mozzie pests in front of the shield, so that if they send in 3 or more Flores drones, you're able to get all of them. Now, you can be saying, well, what if you just put a mute jammer there? The thing that sucks about this is that it's easily, 1, destroyable, and 2, EMP-able, right? So if they throw a Thatcher EMP, a secondary EMP, into whatever the deployable shield is, it's going to disable the mute jammer, and then you can send however many Flores drones you want in there. It's actually pretty effective to do that as an attacker. But if you have 3 Mozzie pests that aren't necessarily stacked onto each other, but are spaced out, that are on different levels and different walls and floors, but are still in front of the shield, they can't do that unless they have a Thatcher. So it's still a pretty effective strategy overall, and in most ELO, Thatchers aren't going to be smart enough to be throwing EMPs at 3 Mozzie pests because they probably don't even know it's there due to the fact that there's a Mozzie pest there that denies their drones anyway. So this strategy can be sort of effective in some scenarios and rights, but I felt the need to include it because it is pretty effective if you do that. But like I said, I think the best way to use Mozzie is using all 3 of his pests on the roam so that you don't get droned out, and in the prep phase, shooting any drones that may drone you out in the process. With that out of the way though, that's the #1 mistake that you make as Mozzie and how to fix it, and that's it with the entire video. Like the video if you liked it down below, sub the channel down below as well, check out my Twitch if you want to see me play the game live. My name is Alka, and I'll see you on the next YouTube video. Later.